Maynard, my wife just called, and I have German Shepherds, and one of them said to the other, Maynard's in town.
Yeah.
I got to ask you about that instrument.
Well, this is the instrument I used on the introduction, and it's called the MF Firebird.
Yeah.
And it's, yeah, right. I knew you'd like that. And it's actually an instrument of my own design.
What is the advantage of that, having the valves and on, having the slide? I don't understand.
Well, there's a certain thing. I have another instrument. There's the same version in a trombone. And the reason for that is there's a certain beautiful and sensuous quality to the human voice and certain string instruments and a slide trombone that has that romanticism because they slide, and it has that certain smooth thing that you can't really duplicate with a valve instrument. So I got together with the technicians in Holton, and we came up with this instrument.
What reaction are you getting to it?
Well, we're getting a lot of reaction from classical players as well as jazz players.
Interesting.
And it's...
Your bell is slanted, too.
Right, it looks like the Dizzy Gillespie model.
So does your throat look like the Dizzy Gillespie model?
That's right, yeah. And in this case, I had the bend...
But
There were some very rude remarks from the boys just then, but we'll let that go. Right.
That's a rude remark?
That's definitely...
That's a raunchy laugh is
Right.
what that is.
Actually, I had to bend the bell up like this so I could get the slide into the outer positions. Otherwise, I'd be banging into it, and it'd be a disaster.
We talked about this before. I was trying to tell Mel, but you have a special process of breathing, a special way of breathing.
Well...
Which involves the yoga exercises, doesn't it?
That's right. Actually, there's a fair amount of variance on them, but one of the ones that I try to teach when we go into the schools is the some of the yoga books when you turn to the pages that deal with prana and pranayama deal with the fact that most Westerners don't breathe correctly through their nose when they inhale, and they talk about it as either throat breathing or in some cases they call it nose breathing, but it's really has to do with a difference in sound. Can you lower that a little bit?
Sure.
Most people, when they inhale, first of all, there's no such thing as a super strong lip.
Lip?
Yeah, in a trumpet player. It's really, the strength is his coordination and his air power.
Is that the lungs and all the other...
You're saying the embouchure has nothing to do with how high a guy can go?
Oh, that has a certain amount, but very little in today's high-power playing. You know, and...
It's where you send the breath.
Right. But also, most people, when they inhale, get this sound. Just bring it way down. The sound, you'll notice that my nose will move, and you'll hear this sound. Now, if I ask...
Close the nostrils.
Right, and that's the way most people breathe. And if you can concentrate on leaving it open here and pretending that your nose is frozen and pay attention to your diaphragm, of course, then the sound is more like this.
Is there an advantage?
Well, there is one advantage. That is the guys in the band have been recommending that we make a tape of this and sell it for X-rated films. But, yeah, right. She just mentioned the telephone line, man. I love that.
Hey, did you hear the last note she sang on
Listen, I want you to know that that's probably the biggest applause that ever took place. All my guys were sitting in the back room listening to Melvin, and they all thought you were just great, man. We loved you very much. Yeah.
I can tell the secret of the success of this whole band. See, they're all karate experts.
They're also very shy and extremely well-disciplined.
I noticed that. They're all sitting there just like little soldiers.
Yes, right.
I'd like to thank my co-host Robert Conrad and my guests Ruth Gordon, Melba Moore, Mr. and Mrs. Pugash, and Maynard Ferguson. Join Bob and me tomorrow when our guests will be Jim McKay, Stephanie Powers, the Mighty Clouds of Joys, from Charlie's Angels, David Doyle, and Dr. Joyce Brothers. And now here's Maynard Ferguson and the band to take us home.